Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wadau na wadauet, how will it be? I want to hear in unison. It has already been. Kawa, this is John Duty on Life MAJUU. Now, previously, after the elections, a few people came to my DM wondering, is the green card for the diversity visa, is it going to be eliminated by the one and only Donald J. Trump after he had been elected? That was the main question and the main worry for most DV applicants for 2025-2026. That was the main concern. However, now there is another new development with regards to F1 visa. At that time, I was not able to answer you guys the way you wanted me to answer. I know most of you wanted hope, wanted me to give you hope and tell you Trump is not going to get rid of the DV lottery. Well, if Trump is going to get rid of anything, the DV lottery will be one of the last things he might touch on, because it's very complicated to touch on the green card for the diversity visa. However, in recent developments, the one and only J. Trump, Mrazi #1, the guy that we all think is against immigrants, announced that he's going to ensure that all foreign students, if you came to the United States to study, he said that he will ensure that those people get green cards. Now, initially, in a previous live, we mentioned that the focus would be on students who are in the STEM category, students who are studying science, technology, and mathematics. That has been the priority for a long time because, of course, as we know, healthcare and IT is always on demand here in the States. But now the tone has changed, and Trump has said that these visas will be available for all F1 students. Now, that's a big one, because right now, kuna kubagua. It's not like at ukiwa na IT ama medical experience, you'll get your green card. Remember, initially, the system was designed that if you are in the STEM courses, all you had to do after completion of your studies is to apply for the OPT, which is a pathway to green card. So basically, the OPT extends optional practical training. It will extend your F1 visa status, and then after, usually it's about 2 to 3 years, after the end of the OPT period, you get permanent residency. That was the initial route. But right now, tables have turned. And I think this has something to do with the emergence of what Elon Musk in the Matrix and in the government. This guy right now has a very solid role in terms of making decisions. In fact, one of the podcasters was saying right now, Elon Musk is more popular than President Joe Biden. So you might agree or disagree that these decisions are coming from one of his advisors, which is Elon Musk. But why? What is the take? Why is Elon Musk interested in foreign students? If you may ask yourself, what's the one thing that's making Elon Musk have an interest in foreign students? First of all, think of this guy with South African heritage. He moved from Africa to the US as a young man, went to Canada first, and then he got to the United States, became a citizen. So he's not a born citizen of the United States. He's naturalized here in the United States, just like most immigrants. But one thing that is common among immigrants is that immigrants, when they come here, they get the American education. Most of them, because the system is too tough on them, they go back home and get top white collar jobs because they have American education. That's the system, right? But with Elon Musk, he noticed that there's a huge gap when it comes to technical workers in the US workforce. In fact, he has complained several times that his company's X, Tesla, the other one that goes to the moon, there's the boring company, the other one that they are trying to dig tunnel. You know, the boring company is focused on creating highways on the underground. He has mentioned that all these companies are struggling with workers, technical workers, and statistically, most Americans are not interested in personal development when it comes to education. So you find that most colleges right now, there are so many international students, and these students are either in IT or medical. Now, I believe, in my view, that Elon Musk has suggested, let's tap into this talent from these individuals who are coming here to study and going back. Let's take advantage of their education and give them green cards so that they can work here. Now, this announcement where Donald Trump promised to give green cards to F1 students came from a podcast. That was not a national security briefing. That was not a formal White House briefing. Remember, this guy is not even president yet. And right now, the American media is so focused on him more than it is focused on President Biden. So anything that he says is gospel truth, because he's about to be officially the president of the United States. So if he says anything, or even on a podcast, best believe that's gospel truth. But why would he say this? He has already been elected. He's not looking for votes. He's not looking to solidify a certain state or a certain age group. He's not looking for anything right now. Why will Donald Trump come up with this proclamation? Unajua kitambo, this guy will just say anything to get elected. But right now, he's not looking to get elected. Sorry, I'm being distracted here by settings for this live. I hope it's coming clear and crystal to you on the other side. I'm not sure. I cannot verify. I'm looking at a different screen. So right now, he's not looking to get elected. You would wonder, why would he say such a thing? And critics have said previously, this guy was almost canceling the DACA program. The DACA program is the one where if you had kids, thank you, Rono. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I was wondering, because I cannot see what you are seeing. So the DACA program is the one that if people came here as illegal immigrants and they had small kids, even if the adults don't get green cards or are not part of the system, their kids would be part of the system. The DACA program was initiated by former President Barack Obama. And you know, Trump and Obama are not the best of buddies. Yeah. Trump and Obama are not the best of buddies. In fact, when Trump was campaigning the first time, he was very ruthless on Obama. Now, why right now he has said he's going to get rid of the DACA program? Why right now is he talking as if he's pro-Black people? And he has always been against Black people. This is because we are in what we call great power competition. In great power competition is where nations from all over the world, now it's like the beginning of World War I. World War II was not even anything close. But World War I was the beginning of great power competition, where nations are flexing their muscles to see who's most powerful. And you see, in World War I, the United States made sure that it stamped its authority on all the countries. In fact, after World War I, if the United States wanted to colonize everyone, they would have colonized every other country because they had the best weapons, they had the most sophisticated nuclear power, they had everything. They had beaten Germany, they had killed Hitler together with their allies. So World War I was the beginning of great power competition. The US was untouchable, right? I'm sorry, World War II is when now the US dominated the globe. And then it came the Cold War in the 80s between the US and Russia. The US, of course, came out strongly. But right now, the GPC for now has new players or new kids in the block. New kids in the block, Nikina, Iran. Russia is still present and a full force. There's North Korea, and there is, so Iran, Russia, North Korea. Those are the main protagonists. There's another country I'm forgetting, but those are the main ones. And China, sorry, and China. Right now, those are a force to reckon with in terms of technology, number one, because they're saying the next frontier of warfare is going to be fought not on land or sea or air, but on technology. It's going to be an artificial intelligence cyber warfare. Now, when Trump says something like he's going to give green cards to international students, you will see if this comes to pass, what he's going to do, he's going now to change the tables and say, we are going to give green cards to international students who will study, who will promise to study and work in the United States in the field of IT. If you do your research, you'll realize that the next conflict that is coming up, it won't be about tanks. So right now, Russia and China and North Korea and Iran, they are attacking the power grid of the United States. They are attacking things that the United States cannot survive without, because once you turn off the power, there's no banking, there's basically everything is down. You remember in 2015 or 2016, they attacked the oil pipeline on the East Coast, and people did not have gas. So basically, someone can sit on their computer right now, send a malicious file to a company or an employee of a company. The systems are infected, and the whole system is shut down. By doing so, that is now the new frontier of warfare. Now, people have been asking, the same guy who wanted to shut down Dhaka, who's been promising to send people to their shitty hole countries and saying they're coming to take our jobs and all that shenanigan. How is he going to do this? In my view, this is the strategy to ensure that whoever is getting the green card is getting it through IT and medical. Still the STEM thing, but now you see this one is official, because at first the STEM thing relied on you, the applicant, applying for an extension, basically, saying, hey, after my college, I want to continue training here. And then after you start training as an F1 student, now you have the extension during that 3-year period. And I'm not sure if nowadays it's shorter, you get your green card. But now it's like going to the military as an immigrant. Well, the only way they were able to pull so many Africans, or not just Africans, anyone that was from another continent, the only way even today they are able to hire in large numbers. Right now in the military, every corner you turn, you'll see someone from somewhere else who is not just an American. The only way they were able to do that, they promised citizenship on BMT graduation. On the day that you graduate basic military training, they said you will become a US citizen. Keep in mind, initially, the process was 5 years, 5 full years for you to get, even right now, for normal civilians, the process is 5 full years for you to get your citizenship. But to draw numbers and increase people who register for the service, they said if you join and you do not have your citizenship yet, but you have your green card, you get your citizenship immediately. In fact, for the Army, I know you get your citizenship immediately you graduate BMT, basic military training. For the Air Force, I know you get it within the first year after you go to your technical school, which is like the college after BMT. And that is within 8 months to 12 months. For the Space Force, the Coast Guard, the Navy, I'm not so, the Navy is like the Army. The Navy, you get your citizenship immediately, you graduate BMT. Now, that was the catch. That is how they were able to increase their retention and their hiring and retention numbers. Now, when it comes to the American workforce, it might be true, don't get me wrong, it might be true these green cards are for everyone, like anyone who's been a student in the United States. And let me quote what this man said, a critic, what the critic said. He said that these guys are coming here to be millionaires. All right. First of all, he said, what kind of president will try to overturn DACA? This is Claire Lake, Director of International Student Scholar Services at Columbia. What kind of president would try to overturn DACA and then say, I'm going to give all international students permanent residency? I just think historically, Donald Trump on immigration policy, his message is not trusted, cannot be trusted. Then he goes on and says this is a campaign promise, which is not true because this guy is not campaigning anymore. But I'm looking for where he said millionaires thing. Okay. Trump proposed the idea during a podcast appearance in June. This is according to Columbia Chronicle. Proposed an idea during a podcast appearance in June, saying it would keep students from going back home to become multi-billionaires. To become multi-billionaires, employ thousands and thousands of people, and it could have been here. So according to Trump, if you come here, you get your education, there's a high chance that you're going back to your poverty-stricken country, start your own farm or your own company, and then employ people because you have American exposure, and then now become a multi-billionaire. Now, instead of you becoming a multi-billionaire, he proposes you become a multi-billionaire here in the United States. Honestly, I'm almost believing this guy because this guy has been on the premise of America first. Amekuwa akisema hivyo. Give me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know what's going on with this thing. All right, we are on, we're back on. So the only reason I believe this guy, based on what he's saying, is because he has always been on the premise of America first. America first. That means you cannot just come here, get paid, and leave. They will look for incentives. They will look for anything to help you stay here. And if it means giving you that green card for you to stay here, they will do it. Now, I believe maybe there will be a catch. There will be a commitment thing. For example, in the military is a good example because that's the other pathway where most immigrants usually get their green cards. There's usually a commitment. That means you cannot just join the military, get your green card, and then leave. You have a commitment, a contract, which says basically you will be a service member up to this duration of time. And then now you can go on your way. So even for this kind of green card, I believe there will be still a commitment. And even if it's not in writing, the commitment will be the 5-year period before you get your citizenship. So before you get your citizenship, first of all, with your green card, you cannot leave the United States entirely. Even if you leave, you will have to come back after every 6 months. The moment you come back, even if you spend a month in the United States, that's good for the country because you're paying taxes. So in my view, this is not a campaign promise because he has already been elected. Why would he be campaigning at this time? What I will do. Now insert Donald Trump voice. What I want to do. And you know, for him, he's saying, he usually says on day one, making such bold promises. On day one, what I want to do and what I will do is, you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically, as part of your diploma, a green card to be able to stay in this country. That's what he said. The podcast, if you want to listen to that podcast, it's called the All In Podcast, you know. But at the same time, this thing that he's just promising on podcast, you know, Trump can just say anything, even as he's heading to the chopper, he can say, release the nuclear weapon. He does not care. He can just make a bold statement as he's going to pee. But the problem is, this thing is not up to him. This thing has to be passed by Congress. Congress has to, first of all, because at the moment, there are only few ways of getting the American green card. That's the asylum, family reunification, and the employment-based, where you get your work visa. You know, and you know, for the employment-based is, that's the lowest category. In 1 year, the number of people who come to the United States based on the employment-based is less than 200,000. Actually, the latest figures were around 160,000 per year, people per year. That means it's very difficult for you to be hired outside the country because the key question that they want to know is, are you telling me out of almost 400 million people in that country, are you telling me that position cannot be filled by anyone else in the United States? That's the big question and the elephant in the room. That's why the employment-based green card is not very popular. Now, the family reunification green card is very popular because that's actually one of the fastest ways to get green cards, because you cannot just deny anyone from being with their family. Asylum is another unpopular one because as people are being killed and there are wars and conflicts all over the globe, everyone wants to run to the United States, which is considered a safe haven for everyone because it's almost immune to attacks and conflict, right? But we have our own problems here. So you might not be hearing drones and guns and bombs, but you will have to deal with the pressure of being here. So it's either you are going through physical harm or you're going through psychological harm. That's the United States for you. So currently, those are the 3 ways that Congress has approved for getting your green card. Now, this guy wants to add the 4th one. If you just land to the United States to study, you get it. That will going to be a hard toll, yeah, because it's like changing. It's actually changing the law for foreign students, and you know, that will demand something they call a congressional action. But because he has the numbers and the vice president, Elon Musk, is by his side, all the rich people, maybe he might make it possible. But then, did you guys know, apart from the F1 visa, there's another one they are calling the M1 visa. The M1 visa is for vocational studies. But for you to get that, you should be looking for a full-time position or opportunity to study. Now, this thing has given so much hope to students. Before these announcements, universities from all over the country had started calling their international students. So if you are in an international student right now, and you're attending the spring semester is the one that is currently going on this January. It ends around May. For those students who are attending the spring semester, universities from all over the world, immediately Trump won the election, started calling their students and telling them to consider returning to the United States earlier on before Trump is sworn in. That was the fear initially, because they were like, if this guy is sworn in, he might not allow them to come back. But because Trump cannot be, you cannot just, you cannot study his moves. His moves cannot be predetermined. He was like, now, I'm going to surprise you. In fact, if you guys think that I'm going to stop international students from returning, I want to give them a bonus. I want to surprise you with green cards if you promise to stay here. But before I continue, I'd like to welcome you guys. Wale wasiwa mtaani jo, leo tumepambana na hii lugha ya mlami juu this information affects F1 students from all over the world, and is not just Kenyans or Ghanaians. People from all over the world are impacted by this. So it's clear. Thank you, Rono. Vin Silva is watching from Kenya. Karibu sana, I see you. Ribeiro from Rwanda, much love, Mr. Joe. I see you, Ribeiro. Vin Silva, I'm very sure he's going to deport nobody. Yeah, he's not going to deport nobody. Yeah, because the deportation thing, I can almost say for sure that was a campaign promise, because that rallied up, that gave impetus to his supporters, and they were like, yes, let's deport these people back. But the reality on the ground is the US in general is struggling with workers, people who can work full-time in different sectors. But the main sectors that are being affected and have always been affected are IT or tech workers and medical workers. Now, why I think this idea is coming from Elon Musk is because Elon Musk is very big on IT. All his companies are big on IT. And he's been on record. Elon Musk is on record saying that his companies are suffering from lack of talent. Lack of talent because American citizens do not meet the criteria. Do you know, by the way, for the average American, I don't know, from people who are watching from Africa, the height of education in Africa is usually college. Like everyone in Africa, even the poorest parents, they will do their best to take their kids to college. That is almost like in Africa, parents believe education is the greatest equalizer. So anyone who finishes high school, if they don't go to college, it's because maybe they did not have school fees, or perhaps their parents were not able to, or they just started a different route for business. But the first choice for most people is college. That is not true in the United States. In the United States, the highest achievement in terms of education that most people pride themselves in is high school. Because in the United States, with your high school education, you are employable. And employable, a job that can feed your family, not just any other job. So ideally, people who choose to go to college in the United States are very few, and they are applauded. It's a big deal to go to college in the United States. Now, because of that fact, you realize that most people who are in American colleges are usually immigrants. People who are complaining, like right now, I was reading a blog where there's a staffing company that is usually managed and run by people from the Indian communities, and they call you, and when you speak to them, you can hear their accent. They are mostly Indian. And Americans are very upset. They feel like these guys are con men and con women, like it's not a legit agency, just because it's run and managed by Indians. But you do realize, like in almost all sectors, you'll find like the top performers, managers, directors are immigrants, are people with accents. So the average American, when they hear that someone is on the phone and is giving them vital information, they almost all the time assume that's a con man or a con woman, or it's not legit, or they're trying to impersonate them. Because if it's a serious business, they will ask for your social security number, they will ask for your address. So if the person on the other side of the line is asking for all these credentials and they have an accent, the average American will, because of ignorance, they will think that this guy is trying to steal their information so that they can either blackmail them or impersonate them or do all manner of things. But that's not the truth. It's because top performers in the US are usually retained from colleges. If you go to all these universities, there's even bodies and student bodies for immigrants, for people from all over the world. Professors, you'll find professors who are Indians, Africans, people from other places, and they are your professors. They are the ones who are actually teaching what you're going to graduate there, be it medical, be it IT, be it being a mechanic, vocational school. You'll find that most professors are not even American born. That shows you that even these colleges, most people, I'm not saying that most people are from other places, but I must say best performers are from other places. Now, Elon Musk was saying there's a lack of talent from people who are born in America. Americans themselves, there's lack of talent. Now, the talent that he finds in his companies are students. And those students are usually given internships while they are still on status, when most of the time they are on their OPT status or maybe on their F1 student visa status. And then after their status expires, they go back home. Imagine coming from a country like Congo, for example, and you do your internship at Tesla. Maybe you're working as a technician or something, and then you go back to Congo. Best believe you will be employed by the top technical company in Congo because you have experience from Tesla. Imagine having Tesla on your resume. So that's what he realized. He realized that even the interns and best performers in his company are either immigrants from somewhere else, and the ones that he was able to retain are the ones who have green cards already. The majority ones that he was not able to retain are the ones who were on temporary visas. It's, in my view, I'm almost confident that he's the one who's suggested this to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is all about business. Most people don't like him. I personally don't hate the guy because he might be saying some crazy things, but if you are on the ground here and you become the American that you want to be when you come here, you'll realize most of his policies will be favoring you. Because right now, you might be screaming, oh, I am a Democrat, I don't like this guy, he says this about Africans. But at the same time, words are just words. Actions is all we want to see. You can talk all day, you are pro-Africans, you are pro-Black people, you are pro this kind of policy. But if on the ground, either you are Black or white, if on the ground we are suffering with taxes, with the climate change, we are suffering with the economy, all those are just words. Trump, on the other hand, will say all this manner of things. I will send them back to their shithole countries. But on the ground here, the economy, or when he's on the seat, the economy actually does well. You can actually put some money on your pocket, right? Because he's pro-American. And I believe anyone who's listening to this live right now is someone who's always wanted to immigrate to the West. So if you want to immigrate to, for example, America, you would like to come to a conducive environment for business and for working. So that you can feel that you are in America, correct? So I usually don't mind him. He can talk. He doesn't hurt me when he talks, but we want to see action on the ground. So in my view, because Elon had complained before because of lack of talent, this is why this guy, he's trying now to retain the talent. Students from all over the world have had their reservations about this. Some have been hopeful. I've been feeling hopeful since he said this. Actually, the OPT is 2 years. I'm sorry, not 3 years. It's such a there's a student called Abru. Alice Abru is a senior film and communications major at Columbia. She's from Brazil. And she was like, it's such a challenge. It's such a challenge to find a job without being allowed to be in the country for over a year. I don't feel like there are enough incentives for us to stay here. So it's really contradicting to think that he doesn't want immigrants to be in the country, but then if you get a degree, you can. No, it's not contradicting. That's what she was saying. It's not contradicting. You just read between the lines. He's like, I don't want people in the country. When he says that, according to Trump, because the thing about being in America is that even illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants still use taxpayer money. If you are undocumented here and you go to the hospital, they will not deny you healthcare. They will give you healthcare. Even if they will bill it to you, they will still treat you, but they will treat you with healthcare money. I mean, with taxpayers' money. So Trump's problem with undocumented immigrants or people from other places, he has a problem with the people who are not contributing positively to the economy. So this student is like, it's contradicted because there's no incentives to stay here. But the incentives are provided for degree-seeking students because they know if you're a degree-seeking student, after college, immediately you will get a job. They know you will get a job here in the States. And you getting a job here in the States, that means you've improved the United States workforce. That is what Trump is looking for. So if you are an F1 student listening to this live right now, and you're looking to come and study to the United States, please switch to something that is desirable to these people. Nathan Kibet was asking, so you can come with F1 visa and join the military. Basically, if Trump approves this thing, you can come with your F1 visa and join the military. Because if you come with your F1 visa, get a degree, and then get your green card, you can join the military. The only qualification for joining the military in terms of credentials is having a green card, being a permanent resident or a citizen. So the moment you escalate your privileges in that order, you are in the military. You don't even have to do all this manner of things that he's saying. You can if he approves it, but right now you cannot unless you get the OPT. Unless after your F1 visa, before it expires, you apply for the 2-year OPT and then get a green card. That's how you can join the military. But OPT, I must say, is mostly or only available to degree-seeking students in the STEM category. I cannot insist this enough. STEM category. Yeah, Kombe is saying that idea might have been, Obama might have suggested that idea to Donald Trump. It might be true. I saw them whispering the other day during former President Carter's burial. Those guys don't usually see eye to eye, but I saw them whispering to each other and, you know, and talking. So it's possible, because at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation. Either you are a Democrat or a Republican. I see you guys. Noah Kombe, thank you for tuning in. Nathan, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I saw your comment, Noah Kombe. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what your views are with regards to this. Is this just a political stunt? Is it just a campaign? Or do you think it's actually going to materialize? Oh, never mind. Do you think it's going to materialize? Ama tu ni paukwa pakawa, siasa ya hapa kule? Let me know on the comment section what you think. And if you are joining this live right now, today we were discussing about the possibility of F1 students getting visas. This is after Trump made the announcement in a podcast. And you know, if he's saying these things, that means it's something that is being discussed. And as we were talking about earlier on, if you maybe joined the live a little bit late, we were talking about great power competition. What is the ultimate goal of retaining students? Is because first, to increase the workforce, to make sure that the American workforce is powerful, but also when it comes to technical students, you remaining here ensures that the US becomes #1 in the great power competition, because we have seen that Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China have the potential. Right now, they are called near peer. It's not like Kitambo. It's not like World War II when the US was up here and the other countries were here. Now, all these other major countries, they are near peer competitors with the United States when it comes to technological advancements. Because of that, you can take advantage of the global landscape. The global landscape right now is very tricky. People are almost coming into conflicts. And the conflict right now, if the guys who are winning the conflicts of tomorrow are the guys who are technologically advanced. And that's why if you are an F1 student, your best bet of getting the green card would be to be on a STEM course. The STEM course will guarantee you almost a sure bet pathway to the green card. Kwa hayo machache na mengi, I wish you a good evening for those who are watching from the US, and I wish you a good morning. Is it morning yet on the other side of the world? I wish you almost a good morning. It's almost morning, I believe. Right now it's almost 6. Yeah, it's morning on the African side of the world. I wish you a good morning and a good Wednesday. A good Thursday, actually. It's Wednesday over here. Adios, mañana. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here. Adios.